Test 1, 2, 3. Say again? Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. No, you're fine.
I've got 4 minutes.
No, you're fine.
I'm further along than that.
I kicked you out.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have kicked you out. No, the meeting's still going. You're not kicked out.
Yes.
Well, we're trying it. It wasn't a huge high-cost option. Put it that way.
There is no mute button, so off and on.
But you have to turn it on first to go green.
On my side.
Technically, it is your mute button too. If you turn it off, it doesn't do anything besides.
I don't trust it until we test it separately. Because
I was just gonna go in and test it for the next 3 minutes with. Let's see if we can get this.
nothing worse than a hot mic when you need hot.
I'll turn it off. That's one with it.
Did we get this?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Okay. Okay, you have yours. Okay.
You guys probably see 2 of us up there. Yeah. Test 1, 2, 3.
I'm hearing something.
Okay.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test. I'm talking soft because I don't want to be loud. Or do I need to be louder on anything?
That's it.
Okay.
Seems to be working.
Today, I'm so happy.
Any word back from?
He's I literally haven't been on his side since junior year.
Nice.
He's only 0.10. Yeah. So I was like,
Does she not know she's
so close to being valedictorian. See, I like it down in Albany when it's so close, but so far away. I don't like the traffic.
Is that it?
More awards or more scholarships than the
That is weird, yeah. Probably involved in more people here. Mm-hmm. But I'll be happy with that even. I'll be happy with like top 10.
What's he want to go?
Harvard or maybe Boston. He wants to be a doctor. Yeah.
My daughter is in Florida right
He's the
now
easiest one
Of course she is.
on her senior trip.
Yeah. Seven fun with what are you doing?
She's at Cocoa Beach today. Tomorrow she's at Disney.
Yep, 2 in, 2 out.
And then the next 2 days she's in Universal.
About to be out.
She's gonna get all Harry Pottered up.
She's not a huge Harry
You
Potter
and Dave
fan.
doing last week that broke the water.
She's more of a Disney person, but
I left for work and I called James and said,
Chris, can you do Pledge of Allegiance in a second?
she had to get up at 2:30 this morning to get to school.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance being led by Chris Dubuque.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did we put one up on the? Did we put one up on the podium for some? No, the front. Yeah, we need to do that. And also, I should grab an agenda. Excuse me.
Let's back on this side. So I'm driving up.
Okay, we are testing new audio equipment here tonight, so we'll see how this goes. But the number one complaint we get in meetings is that you can't hear us, so we're trying to improve that situation. But nice to be back, and this is our first normal or ordinary board meeting for the month of March 2026 for the Village of Ballston Spa. And we are going to start with a public hearing tonight. So you guys should have that in the other order. Pledge for flag should come first there. Sorry about that. The proposed local law number 1 of 2026 is our ethics code amendments in order to ensure that we have actual staggered terms properly and a system by which when there is not a form available to still get nominations and recommendations because of the way the law was laid out. Originally, that was not technically possible, so we are trying to fix that so we can start getting our ethics board reconstituted. And you'll see later on in this meeting, there's some, I believe, new business technically on this meeting for such a thing. So the way this works is if you have a public comment in this public hearing that we're opening right now at 7:02 p.m. officially, then please raise your hand. You'll have 5 minutes to speak for public hearing. Normally it's 3 minutes for other public comments, but 5 minutes for this portion. If you are on Zoom, this is always the great time to raise your hand on Zoom. And so anybody who would like to speak to it, please raise your hand. Ben?
Hello, Ben Baskin, 60 Ballston Ave, Ballston Spa. The ethics law changes are minor, and I'm relieved that Mayor Rossi is taking this opportunity to weaken the ethics law and that the enhanced transparency in bipartisan democratic processes first instituted by me and my colleagues on the previous board will continue. Rather, the concern is that the mayor has allowed the ethics board to completely collapse by failing to appoint members to new terms as needed. Some members' terms ended years ago. The question must be asked why the village currently doesn't have an ethics board, and therefore no local mechanism for filing complaints against Mayor Rossi or any other village official. The mayor's collapse of the ethics board is a major breach of the ethics law, the failure of his administration. Unfortunately, it's not the mayor's first violation of law. The pattern that emerges is that the mayor feels free to break laws that he finds inconvenient, then he tries to cover it up by changing the law after the fact, as he did with the planning board law, the organizational meeting law, and as he is doing today with the ethics law. The mayor's excuse that the changes in the ethics law are needed before he can reconstitute the ethics board, his hands are tied, is not to be believed. Furthermore, the situation we find ourselves in with no ethics board is entirely of the mayor's making. And it's not just negligence, though that's part of it. When an ethics board member resigned last May 2025, I reminded the mayor repeatedly that the law requires that he publicize the vacancy and appoint someone new. He simply refused. And the vacancy continued today, approaching 1 year later. The mayor hadn't allowed the ethics board to disintegrate by failing in his responsibility to track when terms were ended, and then recruiting and appointing new members as needed, as has been done routinely with all other village boards, and which is required by law. The terms would have been continued in the staggered pattern first established by the previous ethics law, and no change in law today would be needed. Proof of this is in the management of the Planning and Zoning Board. Even with the change in the village's official year,
This
no
is
changes in
off
law
topic at this
were
point.
needed to adjust these board members' terms.
Can you
Even
put-
now,
Ben?
ethics board's terms.
Stick to the ethics law that we're changing,
I am.
local
I'm
law. You're talking about planning board
why
at
and
this
whether it's
point.
needed. Even now,
It's not the
ethics
change
board
that
terms-
changes.
Even now, ethics board terms could be assigned in a staggered fashion without a change in law. The current exercise tonight is just covering up another failure to abide by the law. When the mayor violates the very laws he is sworn to uphold, that is when the public should not only be concerned, but should loudly call out the mayor. I do not object to the specifics of the ethics law changes proposed, but I do object to the inexcusable and entirely avoidable situation we are currently in of not having an ethics board.
Thank you, Ben. That was a nice 3-minute way of saying welcome back to me, so I appreciate it. Anybody else?
If people can just as a reminder, comment on the changes to the code law that we're talking about. This is not a time for, if you really want to grandstand, use the second public comment. So let's just try to keep an orderly meeting, please.
Next up. Lisa, go ahead.
Lisa Spidella, the address number to the clerk. I didn't really have a chance to really review. I quickly scanned what this was, but in regard to the ethics code, if it's not already in place, I think it's important to include it in the new law that any ethics member be a resident of the village. I don't think it's so much important as being a property owner or a business owner in the village. I think somebody should be an actual resident. For those of us that live here every day and have to deal with what happens in the village, a business owner might not live here, so they're concerned about their financials. They're not concerned about their actual living in this village. So I think that should be something that's included in this new law. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back here.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mike, was that your hand up? Thank you.
It's already on there.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, though, 2721B1, qualifications of board members. The first one is all members of the Board of Ethics must be residents of the Village of Ballston Spa in the existing law.
Thank you. Good evening, Mike Iacolucci, 3 Encore Drive. I fully support adopting this to put in place a better mechanism for all this to go forward. So I look forward to passing that. Just a couple of questions about wording. And I'm sure this has been reviewed a number of times, but when I read it as a layperson, the local law 1 of 2016, where it talks about membership, point number 4, it mentions that the various terms for different periods of time, it ends with 1 for a term of up to 1 year. And then later that shows ending December 31, 2026. So my question is, if that's going to be in place for the 1-year term, should that wording also be in place for each of the 2, 3, and 4-year terms? And then in number 5 on that, it talks about members not serving more than 2 consecutive 4-year full terms. When I look at the resolution in the first paragraph, point number 3, it says limiting consecutive years on the board to 8. So I'm just not sure how those two play together. I could read the local law summary, number 5, as saying if I were appointed for a 2-year term, I could then have 2 4-year terms following. But the resolution seems to say no more than 8 years consecutive. So I'm not sure what that is supposed to do. And point number 6 of the local law summary, I just want to make sure I understand. So currently, under this, if a member is appointed for a term ending in the future and that person resigns, then the mayor will appoint that replacement I just want to confirm that. And then lastly, it looks as though there are currently 3 or more vacancies in the ethics board. So point number 7 of the proposal, just again want to confirm yes or no. The mayor with 1 other trustee who will conduct a review and then recommend the people to put on the board now. Thank you.
Stay where you are for 1 second. Might as well knock these off because they're valid, so just want to make sure we get them answered for you. The 8-year thing was a glitch and
Yeah, that was
taken care of.
that was a cut and paste because that was the original language before the last meeting when it was changed, and I just literally cut and pasted from the public hearing notice to the resolution. So you're absolutely correct in that it's the members may not serve more than 2 consecutive 4 full year terms. So that will be in the resolution part of it. So thank you for catching that. That's absolutely correct.
Your next one was, just to make sure we're not missing anything.
So if there's a person appointed and that person resigns before the end of his or her term, then you, Mayor, will...
That's normal, yeah. Currently, though, we assume that all these need to be done as full appointments. These are not vacancies, so that was your next question. So the process of, in this case, the mayor and a board of trustees member making recommendations to the full board, for the full board to vote on would be what would be happening for the 4 open positions right now.
Okay, thank you. And,
Yep.
and to go back to that point number 6, appointing for a replacement for a member who resigns prior to his or her term expiration. So would the appointment be for the remainder
Yes.
of that person's term?
Yep. Yep. Thank you. Anybody else here? Seeing none, going, and gotta get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:11 p.m.
Make a motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
I'll second.
Trustee Price-Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I get a motion that the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 meeting be approved?
I'll make the motion.
That was Trustee Dubuque.
A second.
Trustee Price-Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No presentations tonight. We'll go to public comment on agenda items only. Quick question to you, Madam Attorney. I meant to ask you earlier. I never got a chance to. Motion N is deemed a nullity, yes or no, on the...
Motion N, yes. The legal notice is actually going out tomorrow.
Okay, so it's going to be deemed a normal meeting of the planning board and the zoning board is the way that is being construed, and therefore N is not necessary.
Correct. It's a joint meeting of the zoning and planning boards.
Okay.
So because they are village boards, they don't need permission to use a village.
Gotcha. I know there's confusion going into last week on whether it would be just a simple presentation. They're going to make it as a board meeting, and so as a result, N is no longer on the agenda. So when we go to public comment on agenda items only, please omit N. Also, please, well, technically, since we're going to move for the local law number 1, you still technically can make the comment about that, but you have 3 minutes in these public comments for agenda items only. Again, this would be a great time to raise your hand on Zoom if you'd like to speak to anything. Having said that, anybody in the house, would you like Liz?
Liz Corner, 89 High. Thank you for clarifying, and that was one of my questions. The other comment I have is on item H, the proposal of Nolan Engineering to confirm structural review of 10 Thompson Street. I believe 10 Thompson Street is a privately owned property. Actually, I think it's still owned by Mark Black. Why is the village having a structural review of 10 Thompson Street? Why is the village condemning this property? Why is this necessary? And why is the village paying for this? I think normally if property is condemned and it's requested, the owner pays for the structural reviews, not the village. And also, the other thing is the contract that was included in the attachment has the client as Frank Rossi, not as Mayor Frank Rossi. You know, I might have been just a glitch from the vendor, but it seemed a little strange when it said the client is Frank Rossi and didn't mention the village at all. So thank you.
Rich, unfortunately, didn't realize he was coming directly from the village from Don Rhodes, who worked to get us in touch with Rich, so that is why, and that will be changed. So, anybody else? Lisa?
Lisa Spidell. And address number 4. On A and B, I just kind of, in looking at this, it's in regard to positions within the village. And I'm just curious as to where were these advertised, and not just these two, but what are positions advertised, where are they advertised, how long are they advertised for, and in particular to these two, I'd kind of like to know how many people applied and if, you know, if we have choices or not, and how those decisions are being made. And then also, and I know this was something that came up in previous meetings, but residency requirements for these open positions that aren't on the board and whatnot. I know they can go to outside residents if I recall properly, but is there anything that says that we prefer either live or whatnot? I'm just curious because Mr. Peretz, that's here for the full-time truck driver, if I'm correct, is not even in Saratoga County. He lives in Troy, Rensselaer County. So I'm just curious because I think it's kind of important to keep locals as close as you can to take care of this village, because if you have somebody that lives in Troy and we have a snowstorm and they can't get here, that's not really useful to us. That's on that one. D, which is, that is the permit for slick fiber. And I appreciate that the village has to allow this. People put applications in, they have the right to do that. I just want to, with things going on, such as scams with National Grid knocking on people's doors with all this stuff and the things, and Savannah about February's mom being abducted, just to remember that we're opening our homes up to people. They're putting something on the internet that says, hey, we're going to be coming around to your house between these hours. How do we know for sure that it's going to be slick fiber? I personally wouldn't want my mom answering the door, or maybe if you have children, or just, you know, make sure they're aware, stranger danger. And it pertains to everybody, not just kids, because it's happening. My mom had somebody come to her door. I had no idea who it was. And so it's out there. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. And they're giving us mailers. I got 2 of them in my mailbox. They're going to come knocking on my door. If I want slick fiber, there's enough out there for me to call. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Quick response. Lawrence Youngblood, the only thing going on with Lawrence here is that he's already our deputy clerk, deputy treasurer, and we're filling in the blanks for deputy registrar vital statistics at this point. When he was hired, though, I think we had 3 interviews brought in. I just look over my shoulder to our clerk on that one. And so all very, very capable folks, by the way. And so it was a tough decision for us. When it comes to, that can be in Saratoga County for these types of appointments. When it comes to hirings of DPW or police, there is no territorial restriction. And the way things are shaping up right now in terms of labor force, generally, you take them where you can get them from. One of our police officers lives, I want to say, 70 minutes away or thereabouts from Ballston Spa, and makes the trek in because he appreciates the job and we appreciate him. So there is no restriction there. If we would love to have more folks in Saratoga County come on in and knock on our door for position. I believe we use Indeed and anything else these days. But Indeed has given us a good.
It's not posted on the website.
Not sure.
Not usually.
More recently, because people have been concerned about it, yes, we have the posting on the website. But traditionally, it's just on Indeed. Oh, yeah, I think it was.
So we've been trying to expand what we're doing with it, but like I said, we're just not getting that level of subscription with especially DPW because of, I hear from Milton all the time, they're struggling to get DPW over there. Town of Ballston tells me the same thing, or Highway Department, whatever you call it, in different locations. So there is that. Anybody else? Ben.
Regarding the language services contract, I want to thank Trustee Van Danza and this board for seeing to fruition the initiative I moved forward when I was a village trustee. Microphone?
Yes.
The village police will never again have to call ICE for interpretation services. So that's a good thing. And they really, our honorable village police should really have nothing to do with ICE whatsoever. There's an agenda item regarding a support democracy rally on March 28th, 10 to 12 p.m. in downtown Boston Spa. I fully support this motion. In addition, as we discussed when I was a trustee, while a permit is helpful and recommended for planning and security, no permit is actually needed to hold a rally that does not block the street or sidewalk or violate any other laws. Protest is a constitutional right. Last year, there was a rally with a permit of about 1,000 people downtown, and the streets and sidewalks were not blocked, even with that number. So even large rallies can occur with or without that one happened. Under new business, I'm glad to see that there is an acknowledgement that public solicitation of ethics board vacancies is required by code. As I have already mentioned, the mayor has been in violation of the ethics code for close to a year in this regard, so I'm glad the code is finally being implemented as intended.
Next. Marilyn.
Marilyn Stevenson, 45 West High Street. Just three brief comments. The first one would be about 810. Up until a few moments ago, it was on the agenda. I would just encourage all of the trustees to please consider videotaping or live broadcasting that particular meeting. I realize that moving to a new location for a meeting like that, where the public has been invited, is difficult because of the size of that particular meeting location and the difficulty hearing in a space so large. So I just encourage you to do that. Secondly, I appreciate Lisa's comment about Slick. I've spoken out on this before. I'm not in favor of the solicitation even till 7 p.m. at night. Slick has done a lot of marketing in this community. It's time for them, if they are going to be physically present here, to rent some space downtown on Front Street or on Milton Avenue. If they want to physically continue to solicit the community for preferred Wi-Fi, I would encourage you to consider that. I think the door-to-door solicitation is onerous, considering the amount of flyers that we've received. And finally, I wanted to mention on the meeting minutes, I know you've already approved them, but Carla made a very important recommendation to the trustees last time, and it was about the update on zoning, and she did encourage all of you to support a 3-week public comment period on the final draft of the zoning. And I'd encourage you to reflect that in the meeting minutes and also to support that whenever zoning comes back up for the final disposition. Thank you.
I think we're actually working on that. In fact, I was asking about it last week because I noticed we had not put it up on the website, and it's still not up to the way I wanted it to be to reflect what was decided. So the 3-week clock has not started as far as I'm concerned, and we will note a little more publicly when it does start. So that was going to move forward. It wasn't a question of if, but when at this point. So we will do that. Anybody else? Mike?
Thank you, Mike Iacolucci, 3 on 4. Very quickly, just a question, a request really with respect to motion 8F. So resignation of an alternate member to the planning board, if you could just.
It's for retirement purposes.
Okay.
I'll give it to you right now, sure. It's for retirement purposes. He has to fully sever from the village, Mike Morrissey. And then at a meeting in a future date, we will most likely reappoint him if the board deems that to be the desired course.
So my question really boiled down to what are the plans in terms of.
There it is.
To an alternate.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we learned this just recently. We didn't realize it. We would not have even gone there until later on if we had known that if Mike was the choice. So we don't want to interfere with his retirement options, obviously, in that situation with his years and years and years of service here to the village. So we appreciated him letting us know that once he found out, and that's the course we'll take. So thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none. Let's go to the consent agenda. Are all 3 items okay on the consent agenda? Would anybody like anything removed from the consent agenda? Hearing nothing, can I get a motion that the consent agenda as laid out be approved?
So moved.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, Trustee Fondenza, discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that Christopher Perret be hired as a full-time truck driver / laborer for DPW's department?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Price Bush.
I'll second.
Trustee Dubuque, discussion.
Just to be clear, no relation. I was like, is that a misspelling? And I had to think about it for a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that Lawrence Youngblood be appointed as Deputy Registrar of Vital Statistics for the village office?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondenza.
Second.
I will give it to Trustee Dunkelbarger. It was a close one there. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that Kim Anderson be allowed to hold a Support Democracy Assembly on March 28, 2026 from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. at the corner of Milton Avenue, Front Street, in the sidewalk area?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondenza.
I'll second.
Trustee Dubuque, discussion.
We appreciate Kim to, her work to work with our village and make sure we have the right security just for them and everybody's safety, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion that Slick Fiber be approved to receive a permit to solicit in the village limits Monday through Saturday between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m.?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Price Bush.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger. Discussion. We did ask them to rescind back to 7 p.m. and they did so with no problem because of the prior questions that came up in meetings. One other thing I should state anecdotally, we noticed that, for instance, the reason this process has a value to it, we noticed Friday, I think, Mary, was it, that somebody was going around doing solicitation, we thought without a permit, and it sort of gives us the ability to get folks to be known, to be able to sort of say this group has gone through the correct method, others have not, and it allows us to basically say, hey, you're in violation, you're going to have to come get a permit from the village. So at least it gives us a little bit less Wild West approach here, and as somebody else said, we're sort of bound to do this by the code, but at least by making sure that people are going through the code, we have a grasp on who's going through our village in that manner.
And typically they see a no solicitation sign on the door, they will skip the door.
Yep, that still has to be abided by, obviously, for trespass purposes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion accepting Mike Morrissey's retirement as DPW laborer effective March 27, 2026?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondenza, Trustee Dunkelbarger on the second. Discussion.
Certainly thankful for his
Yes.
many, many years.
We are discussing with him possibility of coming back for some part-time work from time to time. He likes the healthcare he's on currently. Would have that option to remain on that healthcare type of situation. So we're just figuring it out with DPW's Teamsters Union as well, because we have to figure out exactly how that all works inside that contract. So more on that at another point for everybody once we figure some of that out. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion accepting Mike Morrissey's resignation as an alternate member for the planning board effective March 27th, 2026?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Price Bush.
I'll second.
Trustee Dubuque. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion approving Stephen Latulip as a new active member at Eagle Mat Lee Fire Company number 1 effective immediately?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
Second.
Trustee Dubuque, not Dubuque, the one person that I didn't mean there. Price Bush, I'm going to give it to actually. She just beat you out there, Paul. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion approving the proposal of Nolan Engineering to perform a structural review at 10 Thompson Street and authorizing the mayor to execute the proposal?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee Fandesa.
I'll second.
Trustee Price Bush, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to award the contract for language services to Geneva Worldwide and authorize the mayor to send a notice of award and execute any documents necessary to effectuate this resolution? Just a note that this was the lower of the two, and so I defaulted to it. If somebody has reason not to want that one, just let me know, but I did put the cheaper of the two according to what we received. Motion?
Make the motion.
Trustee Dubuque?
I'll second.
Trustee
That
Fandesa?
one.
Discussion. Actually, can we flip that?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Fandesa with the motion, Trustee Dubuque with the second in that case. Discussion.
I'm happy we're moving forward with this. I did cite your name last meeting, and I think this is a good move for our village, so thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let me just skip J for 1 second and give you a second to prep up if you need to on that. For K, can I get a motion setting a public hearing related to the revitalized Beef Spa BOA study for Monday, March 23rd, 2026 at 7:01 p.m.
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Trustee Fandesa, Trustee Dunkelbarger on the second. Discussion.
I spoke with Norma.
Okay, so she has comments from Frank. When would we need to get that, if there's changes to it?
Monday next, right?
Okay.
Right, you sent over his comments?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
because I talked to her tonight.
Yeah, she
About that.
texted me. And
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I gave her mountainous ones. I give a lot of reasons
No,
for the small.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but I want to make sure we have the version that we're all
Yep.
comfortable with.
If she has any questions, concerns with my comments, have her call me. I'm happy to discuss with her too. So
She's actually going to provide the seeker documents,
Yep.
the seeker resolution, and the resolution for intent. So she can do that all early next week.
all in favor of the public hearing setting?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve proposed local law number 1 of 2026, the Ethics Code amendments?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Fandesa, Trustee Price Bush on the second. Discussion.
Wait.
Need a seeker for it first.
Yeah, she can't do that until you do seeker. So
Motion to table.
Motion table.
And anybody second?
I'll second.
All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Opposed? That is tabled for the time being.
Okay.
Take it away.
Sure. As you know, we have to do seeker whenever there's a local law. So you all have before you parts 1, 2, and 3 of the environmental assessment form. This is an unlisted action, so it's a short form. I have taken the liberty of filling out the short form part 2, indicating that questions 1 through 11, the answer is no or small impact. But again, I'm happy to listen to anybody. If you want me to review each of the 11 questions and you can give me a decision, we can do that. Think we're good?
I think we're good.
Okay. I also have before you part 3, the determination of significance, indicating that that it's you took a hard look at it, you determined the adoption will result in no significant environmental impact, and that there's no adverse impacts on the public health or facilities, and it is a reasonable exercise of the government. So is that something that you would want to issue a negative declaration for? Or is there any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay, so what we can do is the negative declaration is actually within the adoption resolution. So you've completed seeker now, you can go forward with the adoption resolution.
Lift it from the table.
Absolutely.
Can I get a motion to now consider the prior tabled motion related to approving proposed local law number 1 of 2026, the Ethics Code amendments?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee Fandesa,
I'll second.
Trustee Price Bush, discussion, all in favor of considering it?
Aye.
To consider only.
Yep.
And opposed, we will now consider this motion. It's already been motioned and seconded, so go ahead.
There's the adoption resolution in front of you. I'm happy to read it if you'd like me to. If I actually had it in front of me, that would be helpful.
I got you if you want.
Well, I changed it. And thanks again to Mike for catching that for me. I appreciate that. So I have the resolution. Does the board wish me to read the entire thing or just the whereas, the further resolved clause?
Resolves are fine.
Okay. Further, therefore be it resolved, the board hereby adopts local law number 1 of 2026, and be it further resolved that the board adopts and authorizes the filing of a negative declaration under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and be it further resolved that the board hereby authorizes the village clerk and the attorney for the village to make such minor modifications to the local law documents as they deem necessary, and thereafter are directed to execute and file the said documents as required by law, and to take all of the necessary action for the promulgation thereof. And that just means if something is spelled wrong in the law, like if I have TEH instead of THE, you give me authority to spell check it.
I'll make the motion.
Well, the
No?
motion's already been made,
Oh.
so
You guys are confusing me tonight.
I think we are moving to a roll call at this
Roll
point.
call, okay.
And the clerk will call out the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, I do vote for local laws in roll calls like that, just to be clear on that. So by a score of 5-0, local law number 1 of 2026 has been adopted. Just for those wondering, that this is not law at this second. It still has to be accepted and approved by Albany, which is essentially a rubber stamp, but it takes time. We're going to try to expedite that a little bit, but it could take up to 30 days normally. And if they don't accept it immediately upon somebody actually walking it down, quote unquote, to Albany, then it could take that entire time. But we will see what we can do to get that to work. Let me go to M before we go back. Can I get a motion approving the biometrics for all proposal for $2,180 for 1 year of coverage for their services?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Dubuque?
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution for acceptance of the fire pumper truck, the USDA requirement, if you'd like to take that one.
Sure. So as you know, the village is closing on a loan for the 2023 Sutton pumper. We've been in contact, and I actually spoke today with Chris Hunsinger at USDA. This is one of the many, many documents that we're required to do for USDA financing. My understanding is the closing is going to occur in
April 17th, with the documents hopefully on April 14th delivered, yes.
So what you have before you is a resolution authorizing vehicle acceptance and final payment. That's basically what it says. You accept it and you accept the final payment.
Okay. Can I get a motion accepting or approving the resolution authorizing vehicle acceptance statement and final payment?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Fondainza.
Second.
Trustee Price-Bush, discussion. Let me get a roll call still, just in case it's needed.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 5-0. The resolution is adopted and approved. And that is that. I'm going to add one thing to new business concerning water letters later on, just to warn everybody too. I forgot that it's not there, but there's a reason I need to do that later on. I will explain when we get there. Mayor's announcements. Hi everybody. I see everybody again. Missed all of you. Love you too. Thank you. It was a great month, to get a little bit of R&R, but at the same time, I even missed the 3-minute long speeches that make me sound like I'm the worst mayor in the face of the earth at this point. So thanks for making it feel like a normal meeting, everybody. I do appreciate it. But we got a lot going on right now. We are in the throes of budget. Tentative budget is due in 11 days from today. Who's counting? Me. We've been going through every department and also getting the acceptance of the different not-for-profits and other organizations that we give funding to, and I've been ensuring that we've been going through everything here. It's always a tough economic environment, especially municipally, and we also want to make sure that we can get some things moving forward with respect to the DPW building. We've got some great ideas coming out from LaBerge that I discussed briefly with you concerning some possible utilization of the Malta property. I sat down with Cynthia Young, Supervisor Malta, to discuss some ideas to help take some pressure off of our existing space. Our existing space would still be where we would rebuild in that plan even. But there's some ideas of how to make something a little more passive over there, and hopefully, see what Malta's temperature is with respect to that. I'm going to continue moving down that road and seeing where we can go with that kind of bifurcated approach. I hear Liz over here kind of guffawing about it, but the prior approach was an entire movement of the building in operations to the Malta site. That was never going to be in the cards for Malta. We're attempting to do something a little bit more passive at this point that would be acceptable in a residential zone over there. They're also currently considering wrapping up their rezoning at this point in time. So it's interesting timing, but I'm going to be speaking with others over there in Malta moving forward and seeing where we can go with that. And then Don Rhodes from LaBerge is working with us to come up with concepts to see what the best pricing option is. It is not cheap to do anything. Liz, we can hear you up here, and it's a little distracting toward us. Thank you. So we are trying to take into account all different ideas to stay within that $4.5 million goal that I had going into the capital plan startup last year. So that's part of things right now. Also talking about where court could go as well. And so we're going to actually have executive session in part because of that topic, and labor negotiation discussion coming up in our executive session. Should not be long, I promise you that, tonight. So that's coming up later. Otherwise, Kelly Park was closed today because we had an ice jam forming. My guess is that with 2 straight days of 60-degree temperatures, that will melt and begin to dissipate. But as of last check, we are still closed at Kelly Park for safety purposes. I would not want to be on the other end of that once that jam starts moving, because I think it's going to move pretty fast. So stay away from the creek during times like these, everybody. It is not safe to be around it and around any park that involves it. We are working toward, right now, a couple ideas that we're looking to see how we can budget it in the next budget, excuse me, with respect to the Tedisco Trail steps and getting those to move forward. And also some ideas from Studio A, Jeff Anthony, with respect to Iron Spring Park. It's kind of due for another little bit of a renovation on the building itself, but also one of the biggest challenges that we see at that park is the seating area and how to sort of, everybody kind of plants themselves, but with the hill, it's always a little tough, as Chris Biddle said over there. He's kind of giving me the right, look of what the way he acts over there. So there's an idea out there to kind of make it like an amphitheater type seating and set into the hill to allow, let's say, more natural sitting ability instead of having to, get your blanket and chairs positioned just so. Something that would allow for a concert style venue there, but also still having some surrounding area for normal seating and everything. And some other ideas about using the creek side better, replacing and improving the railing to the creek, because that is not the most secure railing in the history of man that we've noticed, and we want to take care of that as well. But a lot of ideas that we're working with Caitlin and the Park and Tree Board to look through right now, and we're going to try to get those into the capital plan portion of the budget as at least ideas we're going to be pursuing next year in that manner. But I just wanted to flag that to you. Also, the town of Milton, I think I said it another time, but I'll get more specific about it. I believe it's the Lyle Park that they're going to be taking all the equipment out of and replacing the park equipment for the playground area there. As a result, they said to us, we'll happily give that to you for the time being, because in Kelly Park, obviously, the playground area needs some work, and they're going to be removing it late summerish, early fallish, and allow us to use it. That works here because more or less we did not get in time for a grant cycle last year for the state to try to get a few $100,000 from the state to redo some Kelly Park features. This would tie us over at the very least. We're going to put in for that this go around, as long as that does open back up, and I see no reason why it won't be once budget gets put in. Please, Albany, please. So long story short is we'll have at least something to tie us over that's very nice. and then we'll go and improve upon that once we're able to in a future year. So we're looking at those parks. We also have some plannings we've got to do to improve Wiswall Park after last year's triumphant return there. But it sounds like Park and Tree Board is not looking to do all the features. They thought it was getting a little cluttered if we did a lot more there. So they want a few more tables in there, but that's about it in terms of physical structure in there and some plantings. So it's good to hear that once they saw it, reviewing it, looking at the balance of everything and realizing, gosh, it looks pretty good right now as is, just get a little more seating area in there and roll with it. So glad to hear that from the Park and Tree Board for the feedback. Not to steal your thunder there, Charlene, but
no, you're good.
it was a good talk to hear that too. So we got a lot going on, like I said, and budget time is when a lot of things come to fruition, when you start thinking about all these different things that we need to fix and attend to and everything else. So it gets those juices flowing right now for the rest of the year. So that's why having it in springtime or the majority of the process, it gets us all thinking about things we need to take care of for the rest of the year. So there's that. I'm back. You're back. Treasurer's report, I don't see it in front of me. Did she? She did not, but she is working with me on this budget process, so she's been underwater with that, and I appreciate Melissa's assistance with getting everything together, and Jen as well for helping getting these meetings together with everybody. So there's that. Go ahead.
All right, very brief, I have some notes from the BSBPA, our Business Association. The annual meeting is March 23rd, which is a meeting night for the village, so it's a hard decision to make whether to have an extra kitchen food or hang out with us. That's from 6 to 8. And then there's a networking breakfast that will be co-hosted by Slick Fiber and Iron Roost. That will be Tuesday, April 7th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. And they're gearing up for the farmers market season. So if there's interested vendors, please reach out to the Business Association. Their website is ballston.org.
Thank you.
What do you like tonight?
Yep. Mary, go ahead.
The library is going to be having a ribbon cutting for Farm to Library program on March 31st at 10:30 a.m. The program increases access to fresh local foods across Saratoga County, and weekly deliveries of produce will be delivered every Wednesday, and the program is open to all. The book club will be discussing Wandering Star by Tommy Orange on March 12th at 6:30 p.m. and March 25th at 3:30 p.m. The events task force will be hosting the annual Easter egg hunt on Sunday, March 22nd at the Town of Milton Community Center from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m., featuring games, crafts, prizes, and the Balloon Man, as well as refreshments. And this is a free event and will be held rain or shine. Ballston Area Senior Center, they have announced a few upcoming trips. March 24th, they're going to House Caverns. July 8th, Lake George Steamship Mardi Gras Cruise, and October 6th, Gavin's Oktoberfest. And their policy to participate in trips is membership dues must be paid, and you must have joined at least 30 days prior to the trip, and you must be a Saratoga County resident.
50 years old? Or 55, is it? 55? I got 5 more years on that. Sounds like some good fun over there. I mean, come on, kid.
That's what I said. I want to go.
Anything else? Okay, Charlene, I got to admit one thing to everybody here. You must be a tough mom, because I see how you deal sometimes with the committees that you're a liaison for, and you get things done. Let me tell you something. You get it done, and
Chris over there shaking.
Yeah. So
now the one behind.
So like making sure we get a good budget from Committee on the Arts. I know you're working on that, for instance. So appreciate all that work on that. I really do, because it makes it easier on us.
To be successful.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, the Committee on the Arts will hold its monthly meeting this Wednesday, March 11th, 7 p.m. in the library. So just note that that is a change from Brookside.
Right down here in the basement or upstairs?
Usually down.
Down?
Yeah. The committee invites all to open mic night at Back Barn, and that will be Friday, April 3rd. This is a free event, and whether you want to play or just watch, please join them. They are also getting ready for random acts of poetry in Ballston Spa this April. Some business owners of the BSBPA will be hosting a poetry chalk walk along their sidewalks, and they are also working on placing the poem in your pocket buckets around the village businesses and eating with poetry in selected restaurants. So make sure to also check out a poem a day on their social media outlets. And more information on upcoming events will be released soon, but do make sure to save the date for April 7th for the poetry reading and book signing that's going to be here at the library, 6:30, featuring several authors. The Historic District Commission will meet March 19th, 7 p.m. at 90 East High Street, and Park and Tree will hold its next meeting Tuesday, March 17th. I know it's St. Patrick's Day, at 7 p.m. in the Cornell Cooperative Conference Room.
Unless we're agreeing to enter.
Yes.
And Paul.
DPW, in addition to their regularly scheduled jobs, they worked on 2 water main breaks at McLean Street and Union Avenue. Both were repaired. They did some more plowing and snow removal. I cannot wait for me to not have to announce that. The trucks that broke down were repaired, and they are working still on the estimate meter list for water.
And that is that?
That's that.
Okay.
Short,
sweet, and let's move. Fence code amendment. I think we're only going to be able to have a basic discussion here on this old business item. But Carl, if you want to kind of give an update as to where things have gone, where they go, all that stuff, go right ahead.
Sure. So as was discussed at the last meeting, the board was looking at the fences chapter 16-1, the location restrictions. It came to the board's attention that there were some concerns with the fact that under the code, no fence can be erected closer than 6 inches to the boundary line. And so that creates this like foot of dead man space. So the idea was to, fix that so that there wasn't this foot of dead man space, which could lead to some legal issues between neighbors and whatnot. So after reviewing a number of local and pull-out codes, this is similar to a lot of the codes that are around here when there is a location restriction. A lot of codes don't actually even have one. They have height restrictions, but they don't have location restrictions. So instead of drafting the law, I had put out to the board all this information and said, I think a further discussion is warranted to decide what the board wants to do, because there are pros and cons on both. And for example, if you put the fence on the property line, well, whose fence is it? But if I want to put one and Paul wants to put one and the property line is the same for both of us, you have surveyors that don't agree on property lines. So I just wanted to push it out to the board and see, what you wanted to do to discuss this.
So earlier today, I AI'd essentially throwing all the different aspects of current law, the concerns of the current law, concerns of what the new law would have been if we pursued in a property line law. And it spit out very formal looking, although misyeared for some reason, 2025, somebody's got to tell Anthropics 2026. Policy analysis report on the entire national status of fences. And let me tell you something, if you didn't walk into it confused, you would have walked out of it confused, because it is a mishmash of, I don't know what to call it at that point. But the answer is that nobody has a great answer, it sounds like, throughout this country of what to do in this type of situation. You don't want to deprive property, quote unquote, or have anybody make that claim. You don't want to make something have weeds grow through it because you can't get to that 1 foot spot in between it for 40 feet of your backside of your lot or whatever. So it's not easy. There's some cooperative type methods that were reported in there as possibilities, having kind of a fence intermediary from the village. Not thrilled about that idea necessarily, but you can kind of get the crux of the problem here ultimately. Paul, you've got experience as a surveyor guy at some point in your life?
yes.
Tell us your problems.
The problem is that you hire 2 land surveyors, they'll come back and they will tell you that the line is in 2 different places. So you could put up a fence where surveyor A says your line is, and surveyor B will say, no, the actual boundary line is over here. So then you've got a huge gap where you will actually have an overlap of where the fences are. Then you get into the legal problem of encroachments, and things like that to deal with your neighbor, which is not the best scenario either.
Now, go ahead.
And just so the public understands how this, fairly random idea came to the board's attention, is that there is litigation against the village claiming that this law is unconstitutional as a taking. It's not. I mean, it's our defense that it is not, and I'm working with the other attorney. We're kind of on pause to see what we can do on this matter.
There'd be a lot of municipalities being claimed to have that, because it's not just us.
Right, but that's why this came up. It wasn't like we were just it wasn't like I was looking for more work.
Really?
Put it that way. So, for those of you that have looks on your face, like, why are you talking about fences? This is why we're talking about fences. When people bring litigation, we're forced to deal with certain things, whether they're proper or not.
So I think the course of action here is to really maybe take a step back by our attorney to sort of see if there is if anybody out there has ideas or thoughts on it, feel free to use your second public comment session to give us your thoughts or ideas on it, as that's just open season public comment session. But it's a struggle to figure out, if we do move from the current law, what do you move to that doesn't create just as many issues or convolute the matters just as much. So for now, I think we are on hold until we can figure out where to go with it, if anywhere, at this point.
We're waiting to hear back from Dave, too,
Yep.
to see whether we even need it, because if we don't need a fence permit, like a lot of these other places, maybe we don't need this at all. And then that's people's problem, but it's not the village's problem.
Yeah, basically, maybe we just do a height limitation and that's it, type of thing. So it's a possibility, too. But then it's going to be basically go figure out your property line and maybe ask your neighbor if they agree with your property line moment, if you're going to go right against that property line situation. And we'll see. Normally fences are being put up because neighbors don't necessarily get along for various reasons or don't want to see each other's business. Let's see, ethics board openings. So the way the code reads is just to advertise it on the agenda. And so I think that has been done by having this and saying at this point, if you would like to be on our ethics board, we are still accepting. We did get some early ones that we will incorporate into the list of people to consider down the line. So if you already put in, as of, let's say, January 1st forward, committee interest form related to ethics, you're already on the list of people, so you don't have to do it again. We've got you. With respect to anybody else, so feel free to submit a committee interest form or a direct email if you want to put a resume or something a little more formal together to mayor@ballstonspa.gov. I will get that over our village admin at ballstonspa.gov. If you want to give it to Jen instead, she'll get it to everybody, but we'll make sure everybody gets those and then begin the process once this law effectively goes into Albany as accepted. So again, it is committee interest form. If you look up on Google committee interest form Ballston Spa, it should pop up as one of the first results. I'm not going to just read out a random web address here, but that's the way to find it. And otherwise, villageadmin@ballstonspa.gov or mayor@ballstonspa.gov are all your methods to make sure that you put your ethics board opening interest in. I don't believe we have to vote for anything here. Besides, we'll put it up on the website and we'll put a call out on our Facebook page. We have instances right now, this is not listed, but came up today, of some folks that have not been, let's say, good water stewards of our water system. And Carla had put out 4 letters in particular. We have one case of no meter, no customership, but usage of our water. And then 3 others who are technically customers, but have not paid or have paid only the minimums and have not installed the correct apparatus to make sure we're measuring properly. I believe one of which is a village resident, and was it 2-1 or 1-2 for the 3, Jen?
One is the village resident, one is the third resident.
Yeah, and the third one, the one that's not a customer at all is on a Malta, I believe.
Yeah, sure. And we get one is the village.
Okay, so we've got 2 in village, 1 out of village that are customers per se, and then 1 that's not even a customer that's on our water for various reasons. So Carla sent letters by request of Bob Kavanaugh, and then we were getting close to that point where shutting off water would have been the next option, but then we also looked at the code at 200-50. 200-50 says things that should have been up on my screen ahead of time for me to do this. I've got it right here. But basically there is a termination for non-payment piece of our code out there. And here it is, 50, there we go. Commissioner Department of Public Works shall quarterly bring before the board all delinquent accounts. The delinquency shall be defined as all accounts unpaid for a period in excess of 30 days from the due date of the user fee or bill. That's been basically ceded over to Bob Kavanaugh to handle that on behalf of the Water Department. So that does happen, but we don't just go out and turn off everybody's water for one missed payment. We try to work with them when we can. Board shall then direct the attorney for the village to send out correspondence advising the user that he or she must pay the outstanding bill within 30 days of the date of the notice, or in the alternative, personally appear before the regularly scheduled village board meeting prior to the lapse of the 30 days and seek an extension of the time period. So we have to direct the attorney to send out correspondence giving a 30-day notice. And if they want longer, they have to basically appear before us like a judge and jury approach, I guess, for the extension. That was an awkward one to me, but hey, this was amended in 1997, so 30 years ago. Then C is failure to pay or appear and obtain an extension will result in automatic termination of the service by the Commissioner of the Department of Public Works after the lapse of the 30 days or any board-granted extension thereof. So the letters themselves that we had sent out, we can consider as really nice reminders that action needed to be taken. For the 3 that are existing customers for actual non-payment,
2 are non-payment, aren't they? I think 2 are non-payment and 2 they're connected and they shouldn't be connected.
I think
wrong payment. Gotcha.
So the 3 that have a payment of some sort, or failed to pay a bill that's gone out. This is a time for us to direct the attorney for the village to send out correspondence advising the user that he or she must pay the outstanding bill within 30 days of the date of the notice. Can I get a consensus from the board directing the attorney to do so?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Do you want to make it as a motion?
Or I give her permission. Directive?
I think it's a directive at this point, but
How
yeah.
extensively behind?
Couple of years is on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not just trying to, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to turn anybody's water off.
No. So one of the things going on too is that we've tried, Pete Stazak is one of our folks with water license in our DPW, and a long time ago, we had a more established water department in the village. And as we move toward the Milltown Center going online, and if Tannery Commons does go online, between those 2 could be an additional 670 connections to a water service that provides 2,500 connections currently. We're looking at basically the addition of about 25% of our existing customer base, if not more, if both of those ever were approved and maxed out and or on them. So we are looking to basically get Pete to focus on water, and part 1 of that internally is to make sure that anybody that has 2 or more missed meter readings gets basically told they need to let us in or something else needs to occur at that point in time. So we like to start rolling up the bottom of the list and getting this taken care of. And we will utilize attorney letters moving forward to get us to a point where we're not allowing anybody more than a 1-year period to essentially get into the right spot with the village. I think that has lagged for too long. Bob Kavanaugh has been on my case for 4 years about just how far we've let some of that go. And now we've reached a point where we're seeing, I think, in the 2 pluses right now, we're 390 of the 2,500 folks are at 2+ misses of meter cards in a row. That's too many. And we wonder why we have an 80 million gallon water loss, quote unquote. A lot of that's because we are not getting updated numbers from users that might be above that 30,000 number in those periods. And so it's not getting quantified toward usage. We know we're producing it, but it's not showing on the usage side in some of those cases. On the flip side of this, we're still working with Don Rhodes to make sure that we get new water meter technology in over the next few years that will help alleviate what some folks feel like is the dinosaur still roaming the earth, the meter card in the mailbox. For now, it's going to be the way of life. We can figure out ways to allow you to electronically submit the information, and we're working on that actually too. And we're going to get Pete a little bit more involved with that to see what we can do with that. But the long story short is the first step is to get this water system into a much more active current role. You don't want to run it like a business per se, but it is more or less a business in that we're providing a service that needs to be paid for, or a product that needs to be paid for at the very least, and that's what we need to do. So the consensus sounds like we are directing the attorney to send the official 200-50 30-day letters for the 3. Now, for the 1 who is not a customer, it doesn't fall under a termination for non-payment. This is theft of water. And I would like to know if the board would want to go and terminate service immediately because they have received notice that they are in theft of service or theft of product, or if they want to go the 30-day route. That's probably the gray area here that I wanted to see where the board wanted to go with this.
Yeah, same question. How long have they known that they have been?
When they, I believe they took over the property around 2023, 2024. From what we understand, the prior owner had actually bought a meter for them and told them flat out they would have to initiate service officially with the village. So they were on a record notice apparently from the prior owner. And I believe we have attempted before, but we've got the official letter out. When did you send that, you said?
The 27th.
27th, and they were instructed to immediately contact the office so we could begin to figure this out. We've got nothing so far.
30 days. So you're saying one of the options is immediate or?
Go for a 30-day letter as if they were termination for non-payment approach. So it's up to the board. I want the board to do this in a way they feel comfortable with.
Is it a residence or is it a commercial?
It is. I think it's in the residential zone, but it's an interesting property. That's all I'm going to say at this point. It's not used as a typical residential property.
I think maybe sending a firm 30-day, like we're going to terminate you, because you said the last one you sent was kind of borderline nice.
No, I mean, I mean,
borderline nice as she gets.
You said polite.
Well, Frank said it was polite. No, all of the letters did indicate, put everybody on notice that if they don't do what we've told them to do, in bold, in the event you fail to do the above, the village retains all rights to enforce its code through legal action, including but not limited to terminating water supply to the property. And I gave them all till March 15th to get everything done that they needed to do. Call immediately and then get everything else done by the 15th. I mean, the 15th is not. They haven't called, so we can't go in there and inspect. And I don't anticipate anything, but we did give them till March 15th to do things. So it would be termination as of March 16th.
Right. In the case, though, of the first 3, we'll reissue a letter
Correct.
with the specific 200-50 language. It's the 4th one that's the question right now.
Correct.
Thoughts?
Well, I have this reputation now of being mean.
Join the crowd.
Firm. With that, so we can legally just shut them off.
It's theft.
Pursuant to the law, it's called theft of services.
Okay.
And they've been doing it for,
Yeah.
since 23.
23, 24. Yep.
Yeah.
I bet you they're going to call right away if you
No,
shut them
that
off
was
on
a
the
totally
15th
different one.
or 16th.
It's possible.
I sent them all to you.
I don't know. I'm curious. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Paul, you're quiet on this one.
They haven't paid a bill in 3 years. I'd turn them off.
They haven't even gotten billed in 3 years.
They
They're not
haven't
even a
gotten
customer.
Turn them off. We'll be able to make them a customer.
On March 16th.
On March 16th, at
Yeah,
the expiration of her letter.
I agree with
No,
that.
that's
What day of the week is that? Monday, right?
Yep, Monday.
We just
Next meeting.
confirm if
Something
there's
to
a
talk about.
It is that one, okay.
There's not.
There's not. Oh, if there's absolutely no one living there. Confirm. So what's that? 38.
Oh, okay, so we're not like hurting a
This is
family.
the owner.
Oh,
So it sounds like consensus is turn them off and the 16th because of theft of services.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this is different from the basic termination for non-payment. Go ahead.
If we're talking about the same one,
Yep.
they owe money and
Well,
there's theft of services.
They owe money because we're saying if you were a customer, you would need to pay this because you've been using our water since the inception of your ownership. But we're saying to get in good graces and use our product at all, moving forward, you need to pay this, correct?
I think we're talking about there's two different things in this
But
property.
the money that they owe is based on the very minimal.
Right.
This isn't a residence.
Right.
This is this is a assumed business. The possibility of them using the minimum is rare.
Okay.
they know better.
Whatever the board wants me to do.
What is the amount?
Well,
They probably
it's
can't talk about
it's based
Yeah,
Because
on,
you
they're
can't
not.
measure,
yeah,
Based on a
so not
minimum.
letting you in.
So
4 years of, 4 periods of minimum is give or take about $850, I'd say, $850 or $900 plus penalties.
So
Yeah.
was informed several years ago by the previous property
A
owner.
couple years ago at least,
And
yeah.
then also, over all this time, they have not received a water bill and never thought to say, hey, maybe I need to connect with the people that are providing my water.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, be firm.
folks? Okay, so we will go
It's not
Can-
a residence, so.
I didn't get that.
in that direction.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you for putting up with me for that one. This came to light today about just making sure we're doing everything by the book. And now it's time for public comment on any issue. 3 minutes for anybody that would like to speak to anything. If you're on Zoom, this would be the time to do so. Liz, is your hand already up? Yes, it is. I saw that one corner of my eye.
I just have a couple of things.
You're fine.
West Palmer's 89 High. I saw there was a charge for a water study by LaBerge in the abstract. Is that study complete and will it be made public? Also, why hasn't the Labella report on the DPW been made public? I think that's already been complete, built, etc. You know, in the goal of being transparent, these are studies paid for by our taxpayer dollars. We'd like to see the results. You did not answer my question on the structural review not being paid. You just voted for it. I think that's not very transparent either. And one recommendation on your fence laws, include stone walls, please. They are a fence-like structure. They're not in the current code. And I know there's been issues between neighbors on stone walls being built over property line. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else? Liz?
Melissa Taylor, Fort Creek Food Court, Ballston Spa, Milton, to be precise. It is one thing for a politician to share community events for promotion, even if primarily intended to promote themselves, but it crosses the line to exploitation when Mayor Rossi uses his page that is filled primarily with youth sports to attack, to intimidate, and to silence, and allowing others to do so. On his February 26, 2026 video post, Mayor Rossi named 2 citizens who lawfully filed a suit. He tried to gain sympathy by discussing family members, strangely included a photo of students at a basketball game with a claim that they were chanting for him, and failed to credit former trustees who were instrumental in accomplishing work for the village that his team achieved. Mayor Rossi pays to boost his posts, and while legal, I imagine, there's a power imbalance that exists in this public forum when he bullies critics, with his page receiving much support, largely from advertising his support of youth events. On the February 26th post, I was called psycho by a Village Events Task Force member who also made comments on various news pages to my husband, Dennis, addressing him as Melissa, accusing me of posting while at work. Mayor Rossi also addressed Dennis as me, claimed my neighbors disparaged my husband and me. He repeated a blatant lie from a friend of his who alleged other untrue things, including that I was stalking her at her home when I don't even know who she is, and had believed at the time it was one of the many fake accounts used by his supporters. If that isn't outrageous enough, Mayor Rossi shared in one of his comments that the police advised him to get a pistol permit because of fear of my husband and me, who have exercised our right to criticize, but who have never come close to threatening anyone, ever. Mayor Rossi knows this, as he has no evidence of such a threat. He then said, "Please don't make me regret that decision. Back off." This seems to be a clear indirect threat intended to scare and silence me and others. And I know from the community response I've received privately that it has had a chilling effect on free speech. Despite being fearful, I speak up because someone must. This was not the first time Mayor Rossi has behaved in this egregious manner with members of the community, but this was a tipping point
10 seconds,
for me
Melissa.
to speak out. I ask you, the attorney and trustees of the Village of Ballston Spa, what are you going to do to end this exploitation, bullying, and additional liability to Ballston Spa?
Thank you. Next. Chief.
More information on behalf of the fire department. Kevin Crowe, Fire Chief, Ballston Spa, reside in town of Milton, and Fire Commission, figured I'd bring this up in case there's any questions, okay? We have a report. 2010, I came to the village at this time to work with Mayor Romano and his board who was in place to form a junior firefighter program for the Ballston Fire Department. I sat down with the village attorney at that time and Mayor Romano, came up with rules, regulations, do's, don'ts, liability insurance, everything across the board. Since then, it's been a successful program. About 38 students from the Ballston Spa High School area, that school district, have come to the fire department, and we've gotten them through. They give us a good 2 years. Program starts at 16 years old and goes to 18. So since then, 78% have succeeded to stay with us. 7 of them are now career firefighters, including my son. Is actually why I started the program. So it's been very successful. So it's been about 6 years since we've had any students come to us. It's been kind of quiet. We've been trying for years to get into the school, and thanks to Mayor Rossi, he gave us a contact. And we've gotten into school now, Career Day on May 20th, so thank you for that. That's going to be huge for us. We do have 2 applications that are sitting on our table right now at the fire department, and we're going to be accepting them through the fire companies in April meeting. The way this process has worked in the past, I will be bringing those junior firefighters into the board in front of them. Mayor Rossi, at the time, if he could, will swear them in as firefighters. You saw tonight, Mr. Latulip got approved on a piece of paper. It's not typical to bring a firefighter in here, but because of these young firefighters, I ask that we do that, give them a little recognition. This is good for their resume. This is not only for firefighter male, this is female. We've had 4 females come through our junior program, and 2 of them are career firefighters. So, it makes us feel good that they start here in Ballston Spa in the village, in our fire department, and then they pursue a career outside of the volunteer continue on. So just wanted to bring you up to speed, all right? So you're not in shock in April when I bring them in, like, okay, who's this? But, just out of respect for their schedule and the parents, if it's something that we could do maybe after the pledge, you know where I'm going. Set this, if we can do this early, then we can get them on. That'd be much appreciated. Anybody have questions on the program or anything?
Michael Priest is one of them, right?
Michael Priest is one of them.
So-
Andre Alvarez is the second one.
So are you a hockey fan at all?
Who's that, me?
You or no, your guys?
I'll never
Because
be a hockey fan.
you may.
I did root for the USA.
He plays.
To clarify.
He plays for Burnt Hills Ballston Spa. So you guys may have to go out and go root him on in return now.
We will support.
Yeah, you better.
I'm glad this program exists, and that there has been interest. And we see around the state, we talk to districts all over the state, and our fire department really is robust in their volunteers, where other communities are really struggling to get anybody to become a volunteer.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah,
We're
programs
blessed,
like this
a lot
are
of
good.
generational followings, so we have some fifth generation firefighters.
Yeah.
So we're very blessed what we got.
Yeah, we hear those names, and they're all familiar family names still, so I'm excited.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ben.
All right. I believe the ethics law does require posting on the website and social media, so I'm glad to hear you'll be doing that for the opening. I urge you guys to share the planning board, zoning board comments that were submitted. Why, since you're interested in more public comment, why force the public to FOIL these? Why not just make them available? And the timing would line up better because FOIL often takes a long time. So I suggest you do that. I also recommend, I think the 6-inch fence thing, exactly what you were saying, I was thinking the same thing. It's going to be a nightmare for property owners to figure out exactly where that line is. I am also interested in the purpose of the inspection of 10 Thompson Street using village taxpayer money. Someone could explain what's going on there, that would be great. Lastly, I think it's entirely inappropriate for the mayor to post his video on the village's YouTube page, because I consider it, many people do, a political propaganda video where he attacks people by name, residents by name. And you're not allowed by law to use village resources for political purposes, which is exactly what I think the mayor is doing. So I think it's about time the mayor followed the law on that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. No sale. And let us go to other business, including but not limited to board response, public comment. Start with Paul down the end.
No comment tonight.
But make sure to get the camera just so. Sorry. Yep. No comment from Paul. Charlene?
Welcome back, Frank.
Thank you, Charlene. Mary?
Yes, good to have you back.
Good to be back. Thank you.
Get some stuff done.
Let's get some stuff done, as you said. And that means that, hey, let's go to an executive session to get some more stuff done. And I did say earlier, but related to labor agreement and also property issue.
And litigation.
And litigation, please. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Dubuque, Trustee Fontaine, all discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will likely not be taking any action, I don't believe, on the other side of this, but it could change always, but we do not intend to. And at this point, we have to clear the room, and we will pause the meeting. If you do not choose to return, thanks for coming out, everybody. Appreciate everybody, and we'll see everybody soon in 2 weeks. Mariah, come here for a sec. I know. As we come back to order here, everybody say hello to Mariah, who is our intern from Ballston High School. Mariah, how's the experience been?
The experience has been good. It's been very informative.
Boy, it's like we almost paid you to say that, but you're an intern, so we can't.
I was not paid to say that, no.
Well, thank you for your
Good
service.
at the politics like that.
Great job. Thank you, Mariah. Appreciate you. You too.
Good night.
Okay, we are back in session, in case you couldn't tell, and there is no action to be taken at this point in time. Can I get a motion to, yeah, that's it. The vouchers be audited and the meeting be adjourned at 9:05 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Price Bush.
Second.
Trustee Dunkelbarger, just so that the recording caught that was 9:05 p.m. for the adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Everybody, we'll see you on the 23rd.